Issues of today, 6. As our country Liberia progresses with a new dimension, the platform you always want to be a part of. It's here, the Voice of Liberia, 104.1 FM, a new dimension, a 3-hour super interactive, informative, and political platform. Issues of today, here on VOL, the Voice of Liberia, 104.1 FM, the show. Issues of today, 3 of Liberia's best, will be your host, Sekou Sharif, Vendelak Patrick, and Eugene Vigon. Issues of today, 6 to 9 p.m. at 6 to 6:30 p.m. International updates. Get to know what's happening around the world directly and undiluted from our correspondents on the program. That's Issues of today, 6 to 9 p.m. Monday to Friday, only on the Voice of Liberia, 104.1 FM. Keep tuned. As our country Liberia progresses with a new dimension, the platform you always want to be a part of. It's here, the Voice of Liberia, 104.1 FM, a new dimension, a 3-hour super interactive, informative, and political platform. Issues of today, here on VOL, the Voice of Liberia, 104.1 FM, the show. Issues of today, 3 of Liberia's best, will be your host, Sekou Sharif, Vendelak Patrick, and Eugene Vigon. Issues of today, 6 to 9 p.m. at 6 to 6:30 p.m. International updates. Get to know what's happening around the world directly and undiluted from our correspondents on the program. That's Issues of today, 6 to 9 p.m. Monday to Friday, only on the Voice of Liberia, 104.1 FM. As our country Liberia progresses with a new dimension, the platform you always want to be a part of. It's here, the Voice of Liberia, 104.1 FM, a new dimension, a 3-hour super interactive, informative, and political platform. Issues of today, here on VOL, the Voice of Liberia, 104.1 FM, the show. Issues of today, 3 of Liberia's best, will be your host, Sekou Sharif, Vendelak Patrick, and Eugene Vigon. Issues of today, 6 to 9 p.m. at 6 to 6:30 p.m. International updates. Get to know what's happening around the world directly and undiluted from our correspondents on the program. That's Issues of today, 6 to 9 p.m. Monday to Friday, only on the Voice of Liberia, 104.1 FM. Keep tuned. As our country Liberia progresses with a new dimension, the platform you always want to be a part of. It's here, the Voice of Liberia, 104.1 FM, a new dimension, a 3-hour super interactive, informative, and political platform. Issues of today, here on VOL, the Voice of Liberia, 104.1 FM, the show. Issues of today, 3 of Liberia's best, will be your host, Sekou Sharif, Vendelak Patrick, and Eugene Vigon. Issues of today, 6 to 9 p.m. at 6 to 6:30 p.m. International updates. Get to know what's happening around the world directly and undiluted from our correspondents on the program. That's Issues of today, 6 to 9 p.m. Monday to Friday, only on the Voice of Liberia, 104.1 FM. As our country Liberia progresses with a new dimension, the platform you always want to be a part of. It's here, the Voice of Liberia, 104.1 FM, a new dimension, a 3-hour super interactive, informative, and political platform. Issues of today, here on VOL, the Voice of Liberia, 104.1 FM, the show. Issues of today, three of Liberia's best, will be your host, Sekou Sharif, Vendelak Patrick, and Eugene Vigon.
Our
Issues of today, 6 to 9 p.m. at 6 to 6:30 p.m. International updates. Get to know what's happening around the world directly and undiluted from our correspondents on the program. That's Issues of Today, 6 to 9 p.m. Monday to Friday, only on the Voice of Liberia, 104.1 FM. Keep tuned.
We need to just got an issue of today. On board Liberia, gotta discuss our nation issue. Our issue, Liberia issue today. Discuss our issue from Monday to Friday, man. Liberia issue today. I say on the board of Liberia. We gonna have a gonna we play. Let the people play. Yeah, let them Don't you say who play. Bandera play. Mama bandera pas de play. You pas gon play. Just say who Jerry play.
Reminds me about coming up as a child, listening to songs of such. It motivates me to do more. No matter the difficulties, folks, no matter the problems, no matter what's happening, it is always good to be positive in your thoughts. Good evening, Liberia. Good evening, Liberians. What a great way to say hello and welcome to yet another brand new edition of the People's Program on Voice of Liberia 104.1. Issues of today right here. This is where we converge to talk about all of the issues in Liberia. And it's always good it feels great to always return to do the people's job when the people want to be informed about the issues in the country. What are the issues in Liberia, folks? There are many issues in Liberia. Some of the issues are very good. Some of the issues are bad. But like I said, how do we make the good ones to continue to be good and the bad ones to change for the good? Making Liberia better is something we all need to do as citizens and people of this country. No one owns this country than anyone. And so we will use the radio to make the change we want to see in Liberia. No matter how you feel about what you say, the right thing is to speak the truth. Nothing else but the truth. And indeed. Good evening again, Liberia. Good evening, Liberians. Across Liberia, getting us on our assigned frequency 104.1 and also live on our television, Voice of Liberia television. You're also getting us on our online radio across the world on www.voiceofliberiaonline.com. We'd like to say thank you, and also to you there listening to us and also watching us on our YouTube, I want to say thank you to you. Our YouTube channel is Voice of Liberia. So you can go there and get us. And so we're here this evening again, a very tight team. My name is Sekou Sharif, and I will be joining a Jiffic by Eugene L. Facon and that of Fendela Patrick's. Three of Liberia's best. We're going to be shipping, educating you Liberians, informing you Liberians, providing you the opportunity so that your voices can be heard on critical national issues in our country. Issues that affect you positively and that of negatively, by the way. Too many things to talk about today on the program. You don't want to miss today's edition of the program. And it promises to be great firing, by the way, speaking truth to power. Inshallah, with the blessing of my mother, the blessing of my father, and the blessing of my parents, we're going to have a fruitful discussion today on the program. Let me say good evening to every one of you. Good afternoon for those of you out of Liberia. Good morning for those of you out of Liberia. Whatsoever you are listening to us at about this time, we want to say thank you for joining us. But it's always good to be here. And today is the birthday of one of Liberia's best. And I want to use this time on behalf of the entire team, the management at Voice of Liberia, to say happy birthday to you, big brother, Bwaka Sharif, CEO of Boni Company, oil and gas company. Now, let me say a few things before I move. For some of you that don't know Bwaka Sharif, it is never a mistake to cross paths with him. He's that humble person, very down to earth. He opens his hands to anyone, no matter who you are, your background, or affiliation to whatsoever. This is a man that he chooses to give his last just to satisfy mankind. And let me say this to you, Honorable Bwaka Sharif, as you celebrate your birthday today. May the Almighty Allah protect you. May the Almighty Allah give you what you need in life. May the Almighty Allah continues to open doors. Continue to render endless goodness to you. You are not just an ordinary person when it comes to how grateful and helpful you are. I want to say happy birthday to you, big brother. Your kind is just difficult to see. You've caused human imagination of what you do towards him. As you celebrate your birthday today, big brother, may Allah give you unending satisfaction, unending blessing. May Allah make you to succeed in anything you put your hands in. May your children and unborn ones continue to benefit from your goodness. You know, when Allah gives you the opportunity to see your birthday, it is something you need to be grateful for. Not too many people have been opportune, but when you are opportune too, you need to say, thank you, God. Big brother, all I want to say, I continue to pray for you. May your enemies bow to your knees. May they feel whatsoever negative intention they have towards you. May you always succeed in anything you put your hands in. And I want to openly say this to you, that you are a good man. You are very humble. It is difficult to see your kind. Baka Sharif, CEO of Bonin Oil and Gas Company. And big brother, we will find your gift. The entire management of Voice of Liberia, all of the presenters of issues of today, we want to say happy birthday to you. And today, the business manager of Voice of Liberia, Jenny Scoper, celebrates her birthday as well. Jenny's, we want to say happy birthday, my sister. You are one of the best Voice of Liberia has. As you celebrate your birthday today, a very humble person as well, a lady that understands everything it takes to be who she is. She cuts across and she listens at any time, and she accepts instructions, meaningful ones, and implement them appropriately. We want to say thank you, Mama. We want to say continue to work in the interests of Voice of Liberia, and know that what you are doing is not just Voice of Liberia, but it is for the country in general, because the radio station is for the people. We want to say happy birthday to you. And so today, a lot of things. Yesterday, I said something, but my colleagues will join us. Today edition going to be very interesting. We're going to go to our international correspondents shortly to talk to them. I can see Eugene Facon now is already on board. Fendela will soon join us. You need to the email as usual. He doesn't, the other guy. So we have two major issues today we're going to be discussing. Our guys will join us. One is the leaked communication we have in our possession, where it is clear that Liberia as a country will not be qualified for the compact. We explain to you the benefit of a compact, and we explain to you the benefit of passing the MCC scorecard, which Liberia has passed. But Liberia will not be qualified for the compact based on the number of failures or whatsoever. We'll let you know, and we have a very, very authentic document to show to you and to read to you, to let you understand that Liberia will not be qualified for compact. It is not something we want to, be happy about, but it is something we need to talk about to let the Liberian people know. That discussion will start by 7, and that discussion will take us up to 8 o'clock tonight on the program, when my firebrand colleagues will join us on the program. And at 8 o'clock, we're going to transition. We're going to transition today. At 8 o'clock, we're going to talk about one of the major political figures within the opposition, in person of Alexander Cummings. We're going to discuss Alexander Cummings in detail. And we're going to provide analysis to make the Liberian people to understand the missteps of Alexander Cummings, the shortcomings of Alexander Cummings, the doubtfulness of Alexander Cummings on things that he has not been able to make clear to the Liberian people as to what he stands about it. And, looking at the same thing that continues to happen, and he's doing the same thing, but he claims that he's the change maker. And so we will discuss Alexander Cummings in depth at 8 o'clock today on the program up to 9 o'clock. You don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss today's edition of the program because it's going to be very, very interesting. But my colleagues will join us. We have the letter that the president wrote again to the pro tempore of the Liberian Senate. But I'll read my old folks. Famata will be angry with me. You please beg Famata that Famata can get angry. I want to read this thing. This is a post before I join my colleagues that was made by Mayor Jefferson Koji on his elections. In as much we sat here, we criticized it. We said it was not the right way. The things did not happen the way they needed to do it. It was being secretly done, and you shouldn't expect a ruling party to do these kinds of things. But it's also important we congratulate those of the people that got elected. No matter how it is, we are just the watchdogs. We say these things, but we don't also, So as we try to connect our guys, our producer can get Facon on. Please tell Famata to tell the international guys to, because no time, we don't have time, and we can run into the other time. So this is the post. I think a day or two ago, Mayor Jefferson Tamakoji posted on his social media page, and it reads. He said, last night was one of the greatest watershed moments of my political sojourn, receiving an overwhelming mandate from all the 15 counties and party delegates at the 7th National Congress of our party to steer the Secretariat of the Mighty Congress for Democratic Change as their National Secretary General. Out of the 370 votes, my opponent got 91 votes. I got 276 votes, and 3 votes were invalid. I want to commend my opponent, Prince Kripla, for congratulating me, and he can be assured that I will count on him to move our party forward. Congratulations, President George Manawia, who got re-elected as standard bearer with all the 370 delegates voting him overwhelmingly. Congratulations to Chairman Molba K. Molu as well for his re-election, and to all my colleagues who got elected with me last night. Please be reminded that we were elected to deliver the people's mandate, and we should not fall short of that. My heartfelt appreciation to all partisans from across the country for the free, fair, and transparent election. A few years back, when I was elected as chairman of the Revolutionary National Youth League, I made a solemn commitment that we will ensure to escape opposition life, and with God above, we did. I've come once more to recommit myself to delivering the people mandate in 2023. A mandate where we will ensure to sustain the no tuition payment at public universities and maintain a digital learning facility. They want you say, Mayor Koji, they want, yesterday we were talking about you. It's not true. They want that not true. The people that paying tuition, the universal library asking the people to pay tuition. Let me read it back. A mandate where we will ensure to sustain the no tuition payment at public universities and maintain a digital learning facility. A mandate where we will continue to maintain the free WIX program, road construction, and peace. And to do so, we must give President Weah a resounding victory in 2023. You can join my guys. Let Falcon get on board. I want to commend all young people in and out of the country who supported me when I was a youth chairman. Special recognition to those young people in the opposition who support my quest to unite the young people in 2017 under one umbrella as a political party youth league. As I have the opportunity to be elevated today as National Secretary General, I will appreciate you called the next person who will be the youth chairman, all the necessary support to our friends in the opposition. We want to extend our hands to you in encouraging a more constructive political environment for the betterment of our country, an environment that witnessed the mustering of courage on the part of all of you yesterday to celebrate Team Weir's goal at the ongoing World Cup. We hope you muster the same courage to celebrate Liberia passing the MCC scorecard, which is not a personal achievement for the government alone, but for the people of Liberia. Long live the CDC, JTC. Popo, Popo Eugene on Fendela will soon join us. It's time we need to have our guys on. Okay, so that was a post from it's good at times to bring some of these things and then let the people, you need to stop that and let the people understand how they are. Eugene, how you doing, my brother? Good evening from Liberia.
Good evening to you, and good evening to the peace-loving people of Liberia. I'm hanging in there as usual. I'm trying to do my best to stay in my little corner.
Wow, it's good to always be good, though, Eugene. It's not an easy thing to always remain in your corner, though, with all the things happening around us. But how it feels having these kinds of discussions most often, and then at the end of the day, you just go through it. How it feels?
If it feels good if you can make your contribute your quota in a very significant way to the national discourse. It feels good when you can speak on behalf of people who cannot express themselves, people who do not think they need to express themselves, people who would like to but are afraid to do so, people who believe that you can do better expressing their concerns through the lenses that you see fit. And one thing, you don't get paid for it, but the truth of the matter is you're able to help the situation in most cases. And I look forward to doing that until God calls me home.
Sure, thank you. Fendela, thank you for joining us, but I think you need to work on your system, Fendela. We're getting a very, strong sound coming from your end. I think you need to, okay, but I've said this to you, but you can listen to it. You are better, Fendela. Unmute your mic.
Yeah, so my son is around, so sometimes the noise, he's watching this soccer. So he's very much interested into that. But it's good to be here again, Mr. Fakon. Thank you. I see him with a watch. I think it costs not less than $1,000 from what I see. But anyway, it's good. He's living a very good life. My brother-in-law, thank you for joining us. And to those in Radio Land, I want to say thank you. It's a pleasure being here again. And always to the voice of Liberia family, Sekou Sharif. It's a privilege and an opportunity to sit here to agree and disagree. And to those in control, I think they are doing a fantastic job. And Mr. Kane, thank you. And of course, opposition and the government. I don't know what else you want to say. Government forces. I don't think we can say government forces. We can say government forces. But it's good to be back. I think today is going to be fantastic. Touching the opposition and touching the government. So we are not against, and we don't have permanent friends. So we're in the middle.
Certainly, you said it all right, and that is it. So my colleagues just joined us. So for those of you just joining us, let's just give you what exactly we're going to be doing. At 8 tonight, up to 9 o'clock, we're going to be having a discussion That discussion going to center around one of the opposition political leaders in Alexander Cummings, looking at his possibility of becoming president of this country, looking at some of his missteps, looking at things that he continues to do that giving a clear picture that it is just the same old wine in new bottle, and looking at things that Cummings has not been able to make clear to the Liberian people as to he been very clear, like the way, for example, if you ask Cummings, why you think Joe we are not going to be president, you say Joe we are not doing well, and he wants to do well. But there's something that Cummings has not been able to tell the Liberian people. He himself has he used a word, and it's so good that three of us that own the program, we are well educated. And we were, define all the words that were used, and so you can know the meaning of the words that were used. And also a statement that was made by Prince Johnson towards Alexander Cummings on the program. But before that time, we're going to talk about a leaked document in issues of today team possession that states clear that even though Liberia has been successful to pass the MCC scorecard, it is not possible for us to be qualified for the compact. Even though there were a lot of appearances by the Minister of Finance, he was not honest to have said such to the Liberian people, even though he received that information even before the MCC scorecard came out. So he should have informed the Liberian people during his appearances that even though we passed the MCC scorecard, we would not be up for the compact. Honesty, truth-telling, they are important in governance. Don't make the Liberian people think that we've reached a certain level where we've not reached. So we're going to discuss that issue from 7 to 8 tonight on the program. But before there are other breaking trending issues which we usually do, and we'll take our few, maybe 5-10 minutes of our time today. We'll open the lines again to listen to government officials, government employees that have been underpaid in Liberia. But Falcon, Fendela, there are some of the topics. I'm told, Falcon, you want to talk about this issue, start the discussion on the president's extension, meaning he will not come back to Liberia up to the 18th of next month.
First of all, I wish I was really in the position eating some of the money, because the money too much.
Mm-hmm.
What the president wrote the Senate. The first time the president wrote, it is clear, he left the country on the 1st of November, and he arrived, he left the country on the 1st of November, and on the 7th, most of us discovered that he had not written the Senate. So, we put talk.
Mm-hmm.
When we put talk, he wrote a letter thinking that the legislators would have been ignorant, and they weren't. And so for that reason, when the letter got to them, remember I said to you he left on the 1st. So when the letter got to them, they decided, okay, we did the receipt of the letter, which they did, and it was properly documented as November the 8th. The executive mansion is just right across the street from the Capitol building. How do you leave the country without honoring a constitutional duty? And so for that reason, when the president wrote his letter, the guys to themselves, they dated it. And in that letter, the president was clear that he was leaving the country. He will be gone from the 1st of November to the 23rd. And he listed 4 reasons why he will be gone. He said to attend the 14th edition of NEDES, that's the letter right there, forum in Tangier, Morocco. 2, the 27th session of the Conference of the Parties to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. 3, the 5th edition of the Paris Peace Forum in Paris from 9 to the 15th, and the opening of the World Cup in Doha, Qatar. There he would have been from November 15th to the 23rd. And so he would have probably arrived on the 24th, but he said he would be away until the 23rd. Lo and behold, something happened. Remember, he listed all those beautiful things.
Mm-hmm.
And then before we realized, the president subsequently wrote another letter. Let me see if I can put it up here. And this one was dated November 18.
Mm-hmm.
And Sekou is going back to the same people to tell them that they should reference his previous letter. This time, he listed 5 things for the extension of his trip. He said the 5th edition of the same Paris Peace, and I'm quoting his letter, the 5th edition of the Paris Peace Forum, which I attended, meaning he attended it already, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
In France.
In France, was extended from November 15 to 2022 to November 18. Well, those days have passed the last time I checked, right?
Mm-hmm.
Thereby necessitating an adjustment in my attendance as guest of honor of FIFA at the World Cup in Doha. When the World Cup started, end of the 20th?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
You said the team went from the 15th to the 18th. You're supposed to be guest of honor in Doha, Qatar. The World Cup started on the 20th. Or I'm making a mistake. Y'all who know, y'all tell me.
Mm-hmm.
Then he went on to say it necessitated his pushing his trip or whatsoever. Number 2, he said, I have been invited to attend the 30th edition of the Peace and Sports International Forum. Another forum. You and I know what a forum is.
Mm-hmm.
It's a marketplace for the exchange and discussion of ideas.
Mm-hmm.
That is what a forum is. You can Google the definition, you'll find out. And he's going to be there as guest of honor from November 30th. His son game is the 29th, the last game. His son got 3 games in the group stages. The last game will be on the 29th. He tells the Liberian people from the 30th to the 3rd of December. Then he said, thereafter, I will travel to the United States of America, where I will hold meetings with various business and political leaders. In America, nothing is secret. If you're supposed to be somebody, they will tell you. And by right, you're supposed to inform the Liberian people it is all right of what you're doing. Then he says, as you are aware, I have been invited, by Joseph Arabadi to attend the Africa Leaders Summit scheduled to be held in Washington, D.C. from December 13th to the 15th. He said he will be back on the 18th. We know for a fact.
Of next month.
Yes, December. And when he comes, they're going to nominate him, right? But what we do know as a fact is that our travel regulations for government officials allows for, particularly, every trip should be 7 days. Not more than 7 days. And as a matter of fact, not fiction, it is clear under our rules that apart from your hotel, your feeding, your whatsoever, you're giving $2,000 on a daily basis. If you calculate from November 1st to the 30th, because when I was in school, they used to say 30 days, Vendela, you know it? 30 days, September, April, June, and November. All the other rest are 31 days, except for February alone, which has 28 days. We go check. You take out November 30th, the 30 days. You put a December up to the 18th to 8, right? That would be 48 days. And because in his letter, he said it will end on December 18th. We don't, he said he'll be back in the country on the 18th. So that's 48 days. You multiply that by 2,000, the extra money. Not his hotel, not his food, not his sustenance allowance and things. No. Not that. It's incidental of 2,000. You will see that it's $96,000 just for that alone. And this president is said to be traveling with about 58 persons, I believe. If he is traveling with 58 persons, each of those individuals are entitled to their own little daily sustenance allowance, per diem, hotels, and what have you. What the actual cost to the government, I wouldn't be able to say, but I can understand now why civil servants are paid below the minimum wage, that students at the university have to pay tuition now, that prices of commodities have gone up, salaries have been slashed, taxes increase. He wrote the Senate. We did not see the response from the Senate in the first case. We have not seen the response from the Senate with respect to the second letter.
But I'm not sure that the communication sent from the president to the Senate is something where the Senate needs to respond, though. It's just
no. It is a communication, and by law, he is supposed to communicate with them, and it's supposed to be the concurrence, according to the law, of both houses. Now, in so doing, remember he's asking for an extension of his stay, but he's not doing it like he's asking. He's doing it like he's informing them that this trip is necessary.
We just telling you, you just need to know you agree. You agree with me telling you.
I already tell already. First of all, when I was leaving, I didn't tell you. Now November 8th, I sent a letter to you. So you don't even matter. So again, a serious legislature will definitely want to remind the president that this is not what the law says. So again, the Liberian people, the burden of that trip for Kalasco, Finabono, Pesiyeke, all those Vendela Uncle, Ome Jukuju, Eugene Nangbe. Eugene Nangbe gone for 2 months. What will happen to Maritain? Imagine. D. Maxwell Sakimia, Vendela Uncle, is also there. All of these people are piled up on the president. And at the end of the day, the Liberian people are told that they have to, pay the cost. And the cost is humongous. The first lady is also there. Well, incidental, because of hotel, food, everything. What is our incidental daily? I'm interested in knowing that. If the president gets 2,000, I'm sure she's getting 1,000. So 48 days is 48,000. Just one person. Imagine that. So I don't know what to say at this point. I think the president should have thought this over, because if you are going to America to use 1 week to meet politicians and business leaders, I think we don't have good. Some people say 51, some people say 58. What I do know is that it is a lot of people and unnecessary contingent that have got no part to play. I don't think we've learned a lot from the president's trip, because I think when they went to Doha, Tangier in Morocco, we saw Smith-Tobe being effective, Sharm el-Sheikh, and then after that, the whole trip just became you say, I say, and they say, and even now the World Cup whatsoever, we can't even see our own president there. And if it comes to the United States, I'm not sure we'll see anything. But the law requires that he comes back with a full report, receipts, and everything. I know we'll see Karibo sheet and all. Thank you.
Let's go to Fendela. Fendela, you want to share your thoughts on that issue, then we move on.
Well, Sekou, let me just give a very strong disclaimer. I will not allow Mr. Fakon to describe our Minister of Foreign Affairs as Omen Juguju.
This is that man make me. This is that man make me.
I strongly detest.
And they can call me Katuso. And check where they can call me Katuso.
You have accepted to be called Katuso.
And you have accepted to be called Rastaman or what? How you call it?
Rastafor. That's my name. That's my soccer name. Rastafor.
Yeah, Rastafor. And the man
Mandela Rastafor Patrick.
And the man whose name is Ome Juguju. Why you want to tell the man name for him?
And that's why I'm saying I want to use this platform to respectfully disagree with Honorable Eugene El Fagon, the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Is the property of the Liberian people. It represents the foreign interest. He's a property of the Liberian people. He represents the interests, the foreign interests of Liberia. And I detest anyone calling him Ome Juguju. He's Mr. Maxwell Kimia. I must respect him for the title he holds.
Vendela, your park. You don't keep calling the name, but you want me acting like
it does now also make sense that he will be a bare ball to the president. That every step the president takes, he's on a trip. You see, this is what I call division of labor. The president should have returned to the country, allow the vice president of the Republic of Liberia to represent him in France. It creates a government of inclusion, create a government of decentralization, a government that is centered around an individual. That government undermines the tenets of democratic values and principles. We detest, we condemn, we rebuke the president for usurping his moral function. I'm not saying constitutional, his moral function, that you alone cannot do everything. Allow other people to shine. When you were elected president, assuming this was a campaign period, I can guarantee you that the president will not have stayed this long. The party chairman will have represented him, or other executives of the CDC will have represented him. But I like to be very controversial here. I don't want to blame the president in this context for overstaying for more than 2 months or even 1 month. I don't blame him. I blame the national legislature that has the constitutional mandate to demand or request the president to report to Liberia with immediate effect.
Yep.
Citing economic uncertainty, citing political chaos, and of course, the protection of the territorial integrity of our country. The national legislature has remained a toothless bulldog that cannot back, or if they back, they are only doing that maybe to put up a show. There's no serial parliament anywhere around the world that will allow a president to dictate to people you describe as horse of adults, traditionally or in traditional contexts. When an adult speaks, the strength, the integrity of his voice, the sound of his voice will tell people, or even the case passing around, that you have to behave. But the Senate is practically responsible. The Senate has advanced the poor agenda of this president. And they want us to believe that the president is responsible. This president is not responsible. There's one thing to make a request. There's another thing to reject. It does not mean when you ask me, give me $10, so you are right. I have a right to say, no, I can't give you $10. The Senate is not purified. The Senate is positioned, and I understand some of them are going for re-election. They are not coming back, and so they are very afraid to take critical decision. Taking a critical decision will mean that the president or the minister of finance or all government ministers and agencies will not give them support. As a consequence of that, they have closed their mouths. They are afraid to speak, because when you speak, you raise the chance of losing your vote. Who are the big mouths in the Senate? Why are they not speaking? Is there no senator in the Senate that will write the plenary of the Liberian Senate to request the immediate presence of the president of Liberia on Liberian soil? They say the president has the right to delegate responsibility. What is so important that the president cannot come spend some time with us, send your vice president or maybe the chair of the cabinet to go and represent you? The invitation extended to you, all presidents are not going to attend. They are not going to attend. So why this president? No, Eugene, you are muted. Why this president?
Everything the man went for was a forum. Look at everything. You get all the idea, you going somewhere to attend forum for 7 days. The other one, 6 days. The other one, 9 days. All the forum, all these ideas you have to attend this forum. What about the ideas for our rights, for our children, their school fees? Government employees, where are your ideas?
So I'm saying, I don't blame the president. I know people who are listening, they might be disappointed tonight. I am not disappointed in the president. I am disappointed in the Senate. The Senate has the moral and constitutional responsibility to request, if the Senate or the plenary of the Liberian Senate meet today in an emergency session and say, Mr. President, your letter is rejected. We are demanding you to return to the country within 3 days. We have a state of national emergency. Civil servants are not taking pay. Your Minister of Finance is not responsible. He's not doing XYZ. We need to put this country in the right trajectory. Your absence from the country has created a national calamity. Therefore, Mr. President, the Liberian Senate requests that you return to Liberia with immediate effect. This is the position of the Senate. The Senate has reneged on its responsibility. And if Mandela Patrick will not sit on the platform and blame the president for overstaying. The president did not come to this office through coup d'etat. The Liberian people overwhelmingly voted President Weah to come to office. And we entrusted our power and authority in the hands of the senators. Why are they sitting? No single statement has come from the Senate. Everybody saying, so say one, so say all. And that's why in these coming elections, we have to be very critical as to who represents the interests or the image of the country. I can't believe you spend that amount of time, 58 members of your delegation. Some of them have to get padam. They have to sleep in hotel. They're not going to sleep on the street. The president is not going to sleep in Sakana Kwasa area. You have to have that presidential immunity. Besides, he has to take people. There are some Liberians that are in Dubai. The president has to spend. People calculating that $2,000, that chicken change.
That's what the finance minister said. He don't get it, man, every day. Finance
Let's
minister
for the face value. But this is it, right? Let me just come in, guys. You know, I sat and I listened to you guys. One thing we need to ask: are there records to show where the House of Representatives or the Liberian Senate rejected anything from the executive so easily? It is just
only time they reject something from them when they not get their share. They will reject. As long as they get their share, then it's okay.
Now, it brings me to this point. Like you said, Fendela, at times we need to know how to direct issues in which you put rightly. When you have a very weak legislative branch of government, you have all these things to happen. You have the Speaker of the House of Representatives. He's a sedition. You have the pro tempore of the Liberian Senate. He's a sedition. Fendela, Eugene, how do you expect the two individuals to reject anything from the president? That is just clear. And the thing about it is, minority members of the House of Representatives are from the opposition, and even the opposition at times, the majority that have got to be on the side of the executive, which is the CDC, they at times get members from the minority because they cannot stand their ground on issues. Were we to have a very strong legislative branch of government, there are things that continue to happen in this government and in past governments. They couldn't happen. But because even that letter, if we couldn't receive that letter somehow, some way, and somehow we usually get our confidential document, the Liberian Senate will not say anything about it or do anything about it. It's like, do it and just send a letter and then we will accept because nothing else we're going to do. By right, such a communication should be placed before members and get their views and get what they've got to say about it. But since that letter has been sent, have you heard lawmakers having a discussion on that letter?
No, let me tell you, look, let me just be frank. These people pretend, and this is why Liberian people need to understand that a government is a scheme, especially this one. It's a scheme. We appear to be politically correct, but when it comes to standing for the Liberian people, we don't use our authority and our powers to question presidential dealings. So is there no one in the Senate that will stand and say, Senate Pro Tem, arise today to speak on a critical issue regarding the disappearance of the president? We don't know his whereabouts. It's said that there is a constitutional provision that says the president can run the country remotely. He can be in a part of the world and run the country. No one has stood up to debate these critical issues. I don't blame the president. If you are listening to us tonight and you want to blame the president for overspending his time outside of Liberia, you are on your own.
I want to agree with you, Fendela, on that issue because, mind you, and you know, there's something the lawmakers they've got, but they only use it when it is something affecting them personally. That oversight.
But this is not only the oversight, though. This is Article 57.
I know.
Article 57 says, let me just give you a short quote. The president, and I'm reading from it right here, the president shall have the power to conduct the foreign affairs of the republic, like how he's going now. And in that connection, he is empowered to conclude treaties, conventions, and similar international agreements with the concurrence of a majority of each house of the legislature.
So now,
he read a letter.
So now this is where I come to the opposition. No, I come in. Sekou, before you come in, you know, sometimes when we rebuke the opposition, some people can say, oh, hey, you know, you for government, this and that. How many senators the CDC has? 2, I think Sir Joseph. Who again?
You got Sir Joseph.
Cletus because he there.
Abortier.
Abortier.
Blebo Brown, I think, plays song and I support it.
Okay, Blebo Brown. And okay, let's do the statistics. I know about TJ. I know about Blebo Brown.
Blebo Brown.
I know the newly. I know
Abortier.
No,
Abortier.
And the one from Lofa, right? Jala.
Jala.
No, Jala ran as an independent.
No, Jala. My man, no, forget about independent. I CDC independent. Jala. Now, 4 senator. Sir Joseph.
Okay, that independent edition.
Yeah, like independence edition, Sir Joseph.
The man has joined CDC already.
So listen, the constituent of sedition senators in the Senate, they are now more than 10. We have 30 senators. Where is the majority bloc?
You got
because
all
you get read our constitutional provision.
So
you got Dara Zilon, you got Dara Zilon, you got Yombli Kaga Lawrence, you got Kapi from Grand Basso, you got who is gain? You have most of the opposition guys in the Senate.
You have Honorable Prince Moyo.
You got Emmanuel Nukwe. You know all these guys. You know
have
Boris Setuma.
Okay, you got Setuma too as well. You know, so you have more, you know, opposition guys in the Senate than the ruling government. So this is it now. And this we need to be clear. Inasmuch the problem has been created by an individual, but there should be someone to correct the problem, to say, no, listen. For example, we are on this show. We've committed ourselves that we're going to do an independent thing here. If Fakon comes, for example, and he feels that he wants to say something to favor this person, he has his right. He's going to have his time. But Sekou will not sit, or Fendela will not sit and allow Fakon to go without checkmating him, to tell him, no, but Fakon, this is not the right way and this is not it. Even myself, if I come up and because I want to support someone and I say something, you guys will not sit to allow it. What am I trying to say? If Mr. President sent a communication, that is the reason why you see they call the Liberian Senate the House of Elders.
No.
No.
I want to. No. Hey.
They should. Let me use this word. They should. Instead of me saying that they are the house, or they should be, right? The house of elders. They should.
You gotta take you to task.
Yes, they should be the house of elders. So if we are putting them in that context, if they were playing their red role, but now we could be on this radio telling the Liberian people that the Liberian Senate has requested the arrival of the president in the country at this time because they think this is not what should happen. But because we don't have that Senate, the only thing you listen to people doing, like the Darius Dillon and the other people from the opposition, is to seek self-glory to themselves. Because I think this is what they should, sometimes it not be personal, but let us look at the real issues. Are we looking at the real issues like this? What are they saying about this? You won't listen to them. So you don't blame the president. And at times, sometimes the people will be doing wrong. They don't know they're doing wrong, or they know they're doing wrong, but they want to test the ability of the people that are to correct them. And yes, the Liberian Senate will do nothing about it. It will end as the way the president wants that to happen.
But let me say this, and this is not going on notice. As the president is on safari, Mickey Mousing and Santa Clausing with taxpayers' money, while the masses are wallowing in desperation and poverty. The days are coming when this president will be moving from one country to another. Liberians will ask him, Mr. President, you spent almost 1 month outside of this country.
You say almost 2 months of him feeling already.
I'm saying almost 1 month. I just say na my own calendar now.
Approximately.
Whether you say approximately, I say almost 1 month. You want to how to see image again? The other man say 2 months. The other man say approximately. That word you use it. Let me tell you, when you are hungry, when you listen to terminology, the both people can say it can aggravate your annoyance. It can make you vex. Especially where you are hungry, you are not taking pay.
Then somebody outside the country from November to December 18.
I think we need to change President.
Then I think the president will not coming back for Christmas.
No, listen, maybe we can say, but I don't know. I don't want to tie this because it's the same. You know, President Weah comes from the Southeast, right? And we know how President Totman enjoyed himself. Is he a descendant of Totman? Because this guy used to go on a ship in 2 months, enjoy that. I don't understand. So is this how they want to do that? Anyway, I reserve that. I'm just thinking. I'm just thinking. Because so you're going back to election. While you are away, they elected you in abstention. The party doesn't even have a problem with that.
The president.
Listen. It is the first time. Listen. It is the first time.
The whole convention behind.
No, listen.
You go in the post, you not go.
No, listen. The president declared the censor. He's not in the country. He gone
to be counted.
And the president be Joe.
The second thing is the CDC has become the first political party since 1822 to elect a Senate bearer in abstention. So it has gone in the Guinness Book of Records that the CDC in Africa, not anywhere, because yesterday I was doing a research. The CDC is the only political party in Africa and around the world that has elected a standard bearer in abstention. So we need to give them.
Say, we don't know whether the man even agree or he agree because
the man was elected. President Weah was elected in abstention. Imagine a ruling party in Africa has elected, first of its kind, has elected a standard bearer in abstention. He's not in the country while he's freezing, Mickey Mousing and Santa Clausing with our taxpayer money. He was elected in abstention. So by extension, it's a double victory.
Vendela, what I'm hearing that the CDC folks panic when they heard that the man wrote another letter that he was going to stay again for until December 18. They said, no way. They panic. They say, my brother, you come out, you carry.
No, but I think, but let us be real, right? And Sekou and those in Radio Land. While we might be very angry with the president, I think the president has exercised his constitutional mandate. As a student of public administration, bureaucracy is essential. He has utilized his bureaucratic purpose to request the national legislature, specifically the Senate, that he will be away for that number of time. The Senate has a responsibility to say, Mr. President, we do not agree. You must withdraw and come back because we have a state of national emergency. We are going to Christmas. The workers have not been paid for 2 months or 3 months. You have to be present on the ground, and so you can effect the change. Sometimes when the father is not in the home, the children can be disobedient, and some of them can be very rude. If the father is in a home, he takes control of the administrative process. He can penalize, he makes you to pump tire or whatever. Some of us who live in the villages, we know our parents never call us by names. They only blow the whistle, and you know that you're supposed to assemble. Where is the ability of this Senate? The Senate that you describe as the House of Elders. Where is the Senate?
That should be.
Where is the Senate? The Senate that's supposed to be speaking, since the president has ignored the plight of Liberian people, we have a section that's supposed to call him to order, especially when the CDC does not have majority of the people in the Senate. This is about time for people to speak on critical national issues and demand this president to leave from Dubai to come back. No, hey, if to say we had a serious mandate Senate, you wouldn't need to text him. You don't have to write. Just text. Mr. President, in fact, WhatsApp, Mr. President, the Senate deems it necessary that you report back to the country, giving the existing conditions of our people. If you don't come, there will be unspecified consequences. This is not a threat, but this is a constitutional reminder, and you are aware. When you speak with authority, people will take you to be serious. Do you know what makes the lion to be the king of the jungle? It's not because of its physical morphology or its body structure, but conviction. Even the elephant that has all the strength,
okay,
when it sees the lion, it runs away.
Okay, but let's leave it. Let's leave it at that. Let's go to our major discussion. You know that we've ran into our first discussion issue is 20 minutes now past 7 o'clock, and we need to move. You guys know we have something very important and big to give out to the Liberian people. At least we've done our best. Let them know, and it's left up to them. And they send it to us. Well, we wait to see what we do about this issue. And like I said, the only time you see the people doing things when they want to score political goal for themselves, including the opposition or whosoever in the Liberian Senate and the House of Representatives. That's how it is. But I think we all followed the issue about the government of Liberia making a pass within the MCC scorecard. And that was a very, big news for Liberia. And you could see the social media was being flooded. And the government, through the Minister of Finance, they had a lots of appearances. He appeared on the state radio, and that was being relayed on most of the radio stations in the country. And also he appeared on one of the local radio stations as well. And it was being discussed. And so good to our team. Let me say thank you to Falcon. Let me say thank you to you, Fendela, for what we do, to look beyond what people say. There are a lot of things people will say. And as people on the radio, it could be upon us to look beyond and provide a clear picture for the Liberian people, which we've been doing, looking at it. So if you noticed, most of the appearances the people had, they were pushing to a point, making everyone to understand that what next Liberia is pushing for, or Liberia is to benefit from, is the next stage that has to do with the compact. Because when you pass the scorecard, it gives you the leverage to move to the next stage, which has to do with the compact. It is within the compact when you are selected or qualify for the compact is where you have lots of benefits as well, where maybe at times grants and all the kinds of things you get into that. But before we can read it or maybe go after word for word on the document we have in our possession, to let the Liberian people know that even though Liberia as a country, this is not about hate, hatefulness, that we don't hate we hate the country, we don't want anything good to happen. But what we're trying to put out is Minister Twe, the finance minister of the Republic of Liberia, should have informed the people when he had all the appearances to a point that even though we were successful to pass the MCC scorecard, but we are not qualified for the compact. So what we need to do, either we do more to have another pass that will determine the next stage for the compact, which it is the normal procedure. But instead, if you ask the common men that have listened to all of the appearances of the people of government when they were talking about the compact, a man will tell you that, oh, Liberia, the next thing now Liberia going for the compact because they passed the MCC scorecard. But there's something that most of you don't know, and we're going to dive into it. Before we can go to the document, let us give our thoughts on this issue, because three of us we've gone through this document. We know exactly what is in it, and we'll reference people in it, and we'll make you understand how everything it is. But let's listen to Fendela. Fendela, you can take a few minutes to maybe give your thoughts. Then we'll go to Eugene. Then before we can come to the documents itself.
So specifically, you're talking about the compact. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, the compact, because the government of Liberia made a very good, grading in the.
I would appreciate that we contextualize or look deeply into what has come out. The government is saying one thing, and the people who, it's almost like you are in school, you are doing Econ 201, and you come outside after taking your test and say, I made 100, without hearing from the teacher. But because of the answer you gave, you say, I made 100. And then you come outside, the teacher say, okay, this is your grade, you get 90. But that does not mean you are qualified to take the next course because you've been failing more than 4 or 5 times. There are other people who've been passing. While you were failing, other people were passing. So not because you made 90, so it means you are qualified to go to the next stage. So I would have appreciated that that letter be read so that we can contextualize it. We'll look deeper into that. But I think what I want to emphasize here is that sometimes our people are brainwashed. And this is why we always encourage, when you have a society that is literate, that is plenty of people know how to read and write and they can understand. Not everybody that can read and write gets sense. Let's get that clear. They get 2 types of illiteracy: functional and chronic. People who can't go to school or they never been to school, they can't read and write, they are illiterate. People went to school, they can read and write, but they can behave like they never went to school. These are the people we find in the functional illiterate group. In this context, what I'm saying is that it is important that our people begin to understand clearly, because we saw the news, we passed the other thing here, we failed 4 times, we passed compa, we're going to get $300 million, $250 million compa. Ellen Johnson group came and they failed, they passed, and they didn't go the second round. People came and they passed. I don't know why this time I can't hear people talking about 24 years. I can only talk, hear them talking about it will not be easy. You know, so whatever the case may be, I don't know whether the momentum is dropping, whether it's increasing or not. But Sekou, I think it's very, very important for us to speak to the Liberian people specifically on that document you just mentioned. The finance minister said one thing, and you have uncovered, and I like your research. For some of you who don't know, Sekou connects with some of these individuals directly. They call him and to provide clarity with respect to what is happening within the corridors of this compact. In Liberia, we believe within passing, it's almost like you have your brother in the US pay your school fees, and you are not qualified for graduation. And you went to World Trade Center, you did your papa, and you send him the clearance, you now buy a plane ticket, and he's coming to Liberia and waiting for you. So this is what Sekou has uncovered. Sekou, I would really, really appreciate for the level of transparency and accountability, so you can read the content of that particular information you told us about, so Liberian people will understand and will dive into the discussion.
Let Falcon come in, then before we can go.
Let me
Eugene coming.
Let me say this. I think this is one of the reasons why, the many reasons why me and my folks did not get along. The very day Tue decided to run with this thing, oh, we passed, and they started making stuff all around. An hour later, I got that particular piece. I did a podcast on it. And I'm sure even Mike himself wonder how did Fagon get it. Yeah, nothing hides from me. And you could hear people, oh, Fagon, you won't put saying, oh, Gary, this is only for us to celebrate. What are you celebrating? Because what's her name at the United Nations? Linda Kebe Thomas Greenfield. You know, she gave us the name Kebe when she was a Peace Corps in Liberia. She came here and called our government. Let's start from the honor people first, okay? The ambassador talked about corruption in Liberia. Then when Joe Biden sent his special representative, Dana Banks, she talked about corruption of the Liberian government. Then when Linda Thomas Greenfield, Quebec came, Linda Thomas talked about the corruption in the Liberian government. Then on top of it, you sanctioned 3 senior officials of the government for corruption, only to come back and say they score 70, they pass in corruption. Are you serious?
That's a contradiction.
That is a stark contradiction. But when Tue decided to run the whole court or the whole football field with a passing, it was clear that your 70 you score, the people come and bring another group of sanction. That your 70 you score means nothing. Even there they say you pass, if they tell you some of the things you're supposed to do to even get the money, all of the less they give, I am telling you, it's right before me here. I did it in my podcast the very next day. We can't even pass 2 Vendela. If I tell Sekou to, for example, and I'm sure Sekou has the same thing, I don't know if it is.
Sure.
I will quote from it. In selecting countries as eligible for a subsequent compact, the board will consider, among other factors, the country's policy performance over time using the standard indicator methodology. The country what? Policy performance, that one we fail. 2, the opportunity to reduce poverty and generate economic growth in the country. Have we reduced poverty or we put people in poverty? We not qualify. The availability of funds. We go to the bank, we can't get money. People can't get paid. No money in the country. And if you did the broad coins, that number 3, we can't get that one. And the country's performance implementing its previous compact. Where was the previous compact? We get something. And all the other one that we do, we not even finish with it. We even touch it 10%. So that number 5. Then you go back, it says, including evidence of a commitment to further reform.
So Falcon, let me just so what we do
We can
so
make
that
it.
the people will get the clear
We can't
under-
even get father.
yes.
Father, they will not give. If I want to say father for the first
So what we
organ
do-
say they will give you money.
let me read from start to end.
66 people. Let me
yes.
just say this before I close. 66 people pass. Some of them 98, some of them 99, some of them 80. If you think like, and I'm giving you this number because it's there, right? So go ahead there.
Yeah, so don't worry. Let me just
66 that pass.
Mhm,
Osco
60.
70, Vendela. And the only one says so 60 people got Libya. The only one says, all of the 66. Why till I brought fair money says?
So
That's
yes,
what I said, good, we'll go pray for the end of the month on Friday.
whatever you. So
Who
yes,
will go pray? They say 66 people pass. One says they want say, why even going there, sir? I'm not even going there.
Yeah, so yes, the entire thing, folks. For those of you listening, and is important that we make these kinds of discussions so that you can also know exactly. This is the direct message. Liberians, we are not saying that we are gossiping on the radio or maybe someone said this to us. I'm going to read you a direct message to Minister Samuel Twe, the finance minister of the Republic of Liberia, from Mike. You need to listen and listen well. And while we're going to be reading this message, we will take time to explain in detail so you can better understand what this message is all about. And you can make your final determination as to whether we will be going for compact or something about compact or whatsoever. Now, this is the message. And there are things I noticed in this message. I don't know if it is how this work, but maybe that's how it is. So this message, Minister, no, take that message down first when I start to read, please, before. Minister Twe was being informed before the MCC's scorecard could come up. So in my common understanding, it is something that happened at times. You want to say it is not 100% of merit-based something, because Fendela, when you go into school, right, and you did something good in school, you don't need to go ask somebody. If somebody not need to tell you, say, my man, the test result are coming, you pass or what, you just won't go get your paper, and you don't want to ask them. No, I don't need to tell you anything because you know already what you've done, because you know you did something good. But in this case of this message is quite different. Yes, it reads, Honorable Minister Twe, I regret that in my haste yesterday to spread the good news, I thought I had messaged you first, but I ended up skipping. Liberia has passed its MCC scorecard and is therefore eligible to be considered for a compact. Congratulations. You need to carry that message up. That any part on the screen there, so yeah, that is starting part there, so the people will see. The next paragraph. The scorecard is attached. Please keep this out of public circulation until the scorecards are published on the MCC website, which is scheduled for tomorrow, November 3. Fendela, did you get what I just?
I'm listening. I'm getting you.
So that means Minister Twe was informed even before the result came up. So at the end of the day, you saw the people running and all of that. Then professionally, you want to say the intent of this was being undermined, because the scorecard should be published on the website. and you go on the website to see it, right? But if you get it before going on the website and the person giving you the information is telling you don't publish it until this can be done. So it means the intent, because sometimes in the security sector, the people will ask you when you do something or they look at you, you say something. They will say, what is the intent of this man for this word that he used? So the intent of this scorecard as to a point where you should go on the website or access it, that was being undermined. Because Minister Toynan did not go to the website, neither did he, wait on the appropriate time to get it. He got it before the time. So listen to what Mark said. The scorecard is attached. Please keep this out of public circulation until the scorecards are published on the MCC website, which is scheduled for tomorrow, November 3, meaning the 2nd or the 1st, this message was being sent to Minister 12. It reads, while this is a great news, I also want to caution that it does not mean, listen. While this is great news, I also want to caution that it does not mean that Liberia will receive a compact.
Put period there. Say period.
Wait. Hold on. So all the celebration, all the celebration that was going on here, we pass compact. We pass the other compact. We do Swaya. We do the other one. Yama. The man is saying, but before you pass, so you will be qualified for that stage because you are known to be a failure. You didn't fail in plenty of time. Other people, at the time you were failing, other people were passing. They were not qualified for the 2nd stage. You get pass, then you want to overthrow them and you go way ahead.
You not listen. You say, wait. It reads, while this is great news, I also want
then that way they come and tell you how many people pass. Come and tell you where.
I also want to caution that it does not mean that Liberia will receive a compact. Period.
And the minister will come and get compact.
Listen.
Maybe like GPS, and not compact again like GPS.
Vendetta, listen to the next line. The man coming to
my man, ask her to listen to the other one.
The next line, by you just run away until you kill yourself. Listen to the next one.
Listen, there are a total of 66 illegible countries this year. Listen, 66 illegible, meaning Liberia is not illegible yet, though. But they already have 66 illegible countries this year. And typically,
and you in Boston,
only a small handful gets selected for compacts. So out of the 66 that are already eligible for this year, Liberia has not been eligible yet, though. No. So out of the 66 that the people already not receive, or they say, okay, based on the performances and everything, we have 66. Out of these 66, only small handful of countries. It means
data ball line we never see
listen, so that means Liberia, even the MCC scorecard, we do a good year. Before we're talking about compact, 66 countries that are currently eligible, they already say, okay, you know what? The possibility of you people having the compact is something 99.9% possible.
Yes. No, they qualified and they say you're eligible now for the compact.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you getting a grant, when you get a compact, the ones that will benefit,
a small
handful out of that 66. Either maybe they will someone at 20 or someone at 15.
Who
or
15? They normally go between 6 and 10. Because it depends. When you read further, you will see it depends on the funding and the availability of the funds.
Listen, then let's go.
Now Eugene Facon government there doing anything well.
Yes. So no,
I get my party. I'm a comment.
Eugene Yahweh. Is that in selecting countries as eligible for a subsequent compact? Listen, the board they're talking about is the MCC board. The board will consider. Listen to the thing what the people can consider before they say you might go for compact.
Before the successful became eligible.
The things they considered, the requirements, the standards. Because we need to make sure that the common people will hear and understand what we're talking.
The thing you got to do before they give you the money. Before you qualify for it, the thing you got to do.
The board will consider, among other factors, it means in a common simple Liberia English, they say, before you can play for Liberia national team, all the things you need to do that will show that you fit to play for the team, all the type of training there, all the time when they say walk from here to relay, you walk, you go, you come back. They say draw from here to waterside, you draw, you go, you come back. That the thing they're talking about. So they say in selecting countries as eligible for a subsequent compact, the board will consider, among other factors, the country's policy performance over time.
Jesus. Over what?
Policy performance over time. Over time, using the standard indicator methodology. They did not say now. So what is our record for the past?
Policy performance.
Policy performance. Have we been doing well?
Yeah.
If we've been doing well, then meaning we'll not fail the MCC scorecard. But once we've not been able to pass the MCC scorecard, it means that we've not been doing the policy performance the right way for the standard in which the MCC should grade us and give us a pass. So the next thing, the opportunity to reduce poverty and generate economic growth in the country. To reduce poverty. What is the poverty rate of Liberia? You know, I know how things are in the country. Right? That thing, that one asked, go to waterside, ask the people, like one of the old man said to us when we were on the field, he said, my son, we can hear the people can be on the radio, they can be talking, they say, they think you can talk economy. Yeah, then we say, oh man, they say economy. They say the economy now go, but my son, we still finding it difficult to do what we used to do. In fact, the thing we can buy like this. So it tells you that the economy has grown to the extent, according to the people, but it is not having a trickle-down effect in the lives of the people in which the economy should benefit.
I think so good as high economics. Come on the low side. Use reduce poverty. Have we reduced poverty?
Let's look at the poverty rate in Liberia.
Forget about the economic high side in terms of economic growth. But have we reduced poverty? You tell somebody from making 200, you say you must make 100. Then you tell them you increase prices and increase taxes. Have you reduced poverty?
And another thing they say, the availability of funds. Listen, and this is directly in line with the I don't know, they say small business loan thing where they can get the money to Commerce Ministry. Certain time they say they give it to the other people. How many small
Ask
business?
Me when you were there, how much they gave? They gave $3 million to LBD. I was there. I got a video for small businesses.
How many small businesses?
Under that thing was what her name, Jimama Wolokoli and Wisin Tabe making confusion and the case that.
So it means when the people say the availability of funds, that means in the common sense that our market money, there should be funds to help beef up their small businesses and all these things. What is the outcome of the monies that we've been spending? If we've done well, then we will be qualified for the compact. And the country's performance implementing its previous compact. We've not gone for compact. How can how can we perform?
We fail all how we perform implementing
How we perform to match compact. Right? Then it said, including evidence of a commitment to further perform. To further what? Reform. What is the commitment we're showing to say that next year there will be a great reform into, for example, the availability of funds? For example, this year we don't have too many business people having funds and all these things. But what we are putting in place by next year, if this year 10,000 marketers they receive something, next year it will be 20 or 30,000. What is it? That these are some of the requirements, though, for those of you listening. The next thing they said, the board will do so by considering the nature of the country partnership with MCC. Yes, they would do that by considering the
we
nature.
have partnership when we're failing every day.
Then they said the degree to which the country has demonstrated a commitment and implemented its previous or existing compact in accordance with MCC policies.
No, you left something up. Has demonstrated a commitment and
capacity to achieve program results. What is it? Our program results. What are our program
now
results?
how we're failing everything.
What are the results? All the programs we've launched. What are we? And the degree to which the country has implemented a previous or existing compact in accordance with MCC policies and standards. In addition,
we not get it.
In addition, countries often use past the scorecard for multiple years before being selected. You're listening. Listen to this. In addition, countries often must pass the scorecard for multiple years.
Yes.
When you say multiple years, they mean more than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yes, multiple.
They say now one time. You can pass one time or likely 2 times, and you just
multiple are from 3.
So you got to go 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you can say, okay, maybe you get a late chance. So we're not even near compact. We're not near.
We will not pass one time. That one time now we not pass. We need to pass 3 more times.
Then they say countries often must pass the scorecard for multiple years.
But no, listen now. You not just pass. You not just pass.
Well, listen to what the man said.
No. I come in. That one too big. Let's break it down for the people. You did not just pass. But when they say 70 and above, you just made text. You can pass.
Yeah.
You understand? Maybe you've been failing, and then all of a sudden you do 95.
Yeah.
The professor will say, but Luna guy has psychological problem.
Or he's part.
He's a good student. But you score a grade and say, homie tight. Very nice grade. All your friends have been scoring 90, 80. And you didn't say, that prayer warrior will just take and carry away. I beg you.
But listen, let me read this portion too is very interesting. Let me go there. In addition, countries often must pass the scorecard for multiple years before being selected. And listen to the English the man spoke here again. And this is the first time Liberia has passed in several years. You listen to what the man said to all. The where people are the more educated people, they can I don't know, sorry to say, they can insult us sly way and then they let all to be happy about the insult. Listen, all the thing the man say, my man sorry you for it because I answered anything, but don't get it to us. But you might go for the compa, but then the man come back again and say, but you can't go for the compa because you do anything you all the thing you do. Then the man come back again and say, before you can go for the compa, you must pass plenty years. But like brother, the first time you not pass, in plenty years that don't pass, you don't pass. Then the man listen. The man nevertheless, passing the scorecard is good news, and we will let you know if Liberia is choosing for a compa next month.
You see it? Which means we are now what?
We now
We have
selected.
been chosen for the compa. The people who in this year compa, there are 66 of them.
Yeah.
Our compa, we have not been chosen. So that was a good message. We will let you know.
But listen now. You see how the man looking, but many men bow. Then the man saying you will let all know. They know what the man did. The man say our finance minister somewhere again. Y'all listen to it.
Yeah.
The man say, if you have any questions about your country's performance, please contact Dan Barnes. Now, for those of you that don't know Dan Barnes is the managing director for selection, eligibility, and policy performance at MCC. Right? At MCC.
Policy division.
Yes. Dan Barnes serves as the managing director for selection, eligibility, and policy performance at MCC. So the main email, yeah. For some of you that when we say maybe because you will have people that are down hard, and no matter what you say, they will want to be blind loyalists.
No,
so,
they got down hard now. They got taken by the CDC now.
Then the mail say, if you have any questions about your country's performance, please contact Dan Barnes from MCC Selection, Eligibility, and Policy Performance Division. Then they put the main email here. It said, best regards, Mark. That's it. So, fellow Liberians, well, what you've heard, do you think we are going for a compa? What's the possibility of us going for a compa? Now, anything you did not do well from the start, you've not done it properly. Gentlemen, let's listen. Let's give a few words to go to the lines so we can move on.
You know, for me, let me say this. Like I said before, some of the problems Mandela had with my people. Stand before the microphone and say, fellow citizens, by now, many of you are aware of the MCC scorecard. Liberia has tried its level best. We've done all we could. The previous years were very challenging. When we took over, we inherited a broke government and a bad economy. Before we could set our foot on the gas pedal, we were struck by a global pandemic, COVID. Over the last 2 years, we struggled. There's absolutely no way we could have made an impact with respect to our scorecard. But as the world come together to deal with this global pandemic, and that we are now beginning as a global community to step our foot outside, I am pleased to announce to you that we have made a pass with the Millennium Compact Challenge. However, let not your hopes be too high. But equally so, we must celebrate the first step to beginning passing as we go along. It will require several more years before we can actually achieve the monies we're chasing within the compact and the scores we intend to gather to be able to sustain ourselves as a nation and look better to our global community. While it's true we must celebrate, we must keep in mind that it will require extra hard work to be able to meet the compact objectives. Be bold. Tell your people the truth.
Now what we continue to do, we need to change some of the things. We need to make some of the
But
news.
you can't tell your people, you make it look like tomorrow they come and get you 300 million. You lie to your people like everything is gold. And when your friends then tell you they're not going to do it, then you get very, you say the other mayor part that reactionary. Oh, the other mayor part, I'm not party store. They may look like he's a reactionary. But he's not a reactionary. The more you tell Liberians the truth, the better you get out of them because they're resilient people. They can fight, they can work. But these are some of the reasons why the people sit down and look at them. Eugene Lambert came on a program and said it was a smart travel. The president was trying to save money. Who are you talking to? You think if the president had come home to make 2 or 3 different trips, you know how much we would have saved? Take the hotel money from there. Take the 51 people from there, or the 58 people.
My man, let's stick the thing to the thing here.
No, it's in line with it. Okay? You constantly come to fool us. Now we're talking about policy performance. Did you not read that? Yet you will look at what the law say, you forget about it. What the government policies say about not being out on a particular trip for more than 7 days, you now violate all that. Where are we? And so for me, the compact story is not a unique story. It is our everyday story where somebody say, Liberian government or workers, nobody there making more than 100. I mean, less than $100. Sekou pick up the line and post it 45. Sekou won't run away from a radio station. Where is the policy performance? Your policy states that after harmonization, no one will make less than 100. People are making 45. When we will pass again? It's unfortunate, Vendela.
Vendela, let's hear you so we go to the lines.
Well, I think I don't believe in micromanaging people. I believe that truth should be told. Unfortunately, certain people are just programmed, they just believe in lies. If you tell them the truth, they will never believe. So lies must be told. I understand the circumstances surrounding this compact. I think it's a hardcore deception. But again, sometimes when I say to seditions, you know, especially those small and tiny seditions.
I mean, don't call people tiny seditions. They are diehard seditions.
No, I'm talking about the way they think. I'm not saying, I say some of them. Some of those small and tiny seditions.
Tiny sedition.
They think narrow manner. Yeah, yesterday you condemned that. No, listen, Mr. Falcon. Yesterday, yesterday you were disappointed in them. And I like your resilience and your objectivity is good. They say there's no forest to throw a bacha. But like I was saying, Sekou, I am just disappointed that people are programmed to believe certain things as long as it's not pleasing to their ears or it sounds very cacophonious. It means you are a liar. You should always speak to their expectation. But I am disappointed listening that, I mean, we've been failing. We just make a pass. We not even make 100. We just make a pass.
70.
They call homicide passing. Then the other people who have been passing 80, 95, 90, and they did not qualify for compact, you just pass. How sure are we that we just leave these people and then we carry you there? This is the communication we have not sent to our people. And I am disappointed for the low level. Look, Sekou, we have a problem in Liberia. The problem in Liberia is hypocrisy, and the one Dr. Martin Luther King described as conscientious stupidity. He said it's the most dangerous thing in the world. When people are conscientiously stupid, he said, and I quote, I don't want this to be reflected. Oh, Mandela Patrick on the air. The man was causing the Liberian people. They say the man was stupid. No, I'm quoting Dr. King. Dr. Martin Luther King said, and I quote, you have to Google it. The most dangerous thing in this world is sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity. Knowing what is right, but you choose to believe what is wrong because you want to prove a point and you want to satisfy certain condition. I am disappointed, not just in the government, but I'm disappointed into people that believe in the lies. If the government speaks lies and you don't accept, you are free. But where the government proffers lies and deceits, and you accept and you move on, then there's the problem. Personally, as a Liberian, as someone who subscribed to the tenets of democratic values and principles, I can clearly state here that it is a problem to mislead us as a generation of new thinkers and as citizens of Liberia. We must state, what if the compact does not come? It is good to tell the people the unforeseen circumstances. It has been propagated as though everything is fine, pass. This thing,
Okay.
I know people in government, but that's why we are doing our research. And people who are listening to us, you have to be, let not your expectation be so high. You pass the compact, you fail more than 2 times. You just make a pass. The first time you fail, other people were making 90 and 85 above. The second time you fail, some people were making 90, 95 and above. The third time you pass, hold me tight, 70, not even 90. And you can't tell us that you qualify in the next stage. So what happens to those who have been passing? They sing compa, they Millennium Challenge, compa and blah, blah. They will not leave them behind. This thing is not nepotism. It is like when you are in high school, you can become a director and you be leading people who are college graduate, they have master degree. Only in Liberia can happen. In the international community, it is a merit system. So we are not even close to that.
Okay, let's go to the lines. Let's go to the lines because we have our next discussion. Let's go to the lines so that we can have the guys participating. Then we go to the next discussion that is going to be very, very interesting. By the way, folks, if you're just joining us, you're listening to the program Issues of Today right here on Voice of Liberia 104.1, and also we're live on our television, Voice of Liberia television, and we live on YouTube, Voice of Liberia. We're also live on the online radio, www.voiceofliberiaonline.com. We are your presenters, Sekou Sharif, Fendela Patrick, Eugene Facon. We are here tonight up to 9 o'clock. We go to the lines now. Call us on 0770-907-907. It's the WhatsApp line. 0770-907-907 is the WhatsApp line. And that's the number. You can call it again on the direct local line, 0770-907-907, 0880-907-907. We're just going to take few calls on this issue so we can transition. Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Thank you for the platform. And let me say good evening to your studio guest. I'm Andrew Moses, and I joined the conversation from District 13. I'm following Honorable Eugene Facon and that of Fendela Patrick. But I think I want to come from different side of the discussion. While it is true that there are competing priorities that the government need to deal with, but equally so, we should not make the public to understand that nothing is going on absolutely in this country.
No, we did not say so.
Sekou, I'm coming. I'm not speaking to you in particular.
No, but you're speaking to every one of us because when you speak to them, you speak to me.
Coming for your studio guest to say that
they're not studio guests, sir.
And,
sorry. Hello,
listen,
sir.
Listen.
Sir. Hello. Let me just correct this. They are not studio guests.
Sekou, I'm not saying you. I said your guests.
They are not guests. I'm saying to you too. I'm educating you. They are not guests. They are.
They are partners on your show now.
Yes.
Okay, I don't know. Okay, thank you for telling me that. For them to sit in studio and make the Liberian people to understand that nothing is going on as a there in Liberia, I think that is, that is wrong coming from them. So we just need to create the necessary checkpoint.
Thank you. Let's take another person. Hello.
But Sekou, I don't think this guy following the show.
Good evening. He's not following.
He's not following the show. You don't even know what we're discussing.
You know, Sekou, you Vanilla Gaga team, man. Yeah, got people laughing. But here's the thing, though. I agree with you guys that people cannot be running government, Sekou, and running opposition. Let's be honest. Cause pay is pay. The better the people know the hard truth, they want to accept it, Sekou, they accept it. They don't want to accept it, fine. But the Western method and conducting themselves, it's very disappointing. You come to the public, you build that false impression. I say, oh, it's well, we need to go low now. Look at the thing you're exposing to Mexico. So that tells you that the whole morale, the whole cliché, 12 men jumping around, having a one, actors on the stage, doing all kind of things. I mean, it's just a fiasco. So nothing rather we can boast up for them for the past 5 years. It's sad. It's sad. And before I grab your last Sekou, I want to commend you on the new dynamics of your show. I mean,
thank you, Chief. Thank you. Let's take another person. Hello. Once in your favor, a balance. The day we say something against your own interest, you say we said, hello, go ahead.
Sekou, what's up?
Good evening.
Yeah, man. Sekou is from Harrisburg from the Agio.
Go ahead, sir.
Yes, look, from day one, I always told people that Minister Samuel Toy is the father of Mr. President Weah. Look, from the very beginning, Mr. Toy decided to have a harmonization. That thing they call harmonization. I knew that Mr. Weah was falling into a big hole. Look, this country, where everybody, you see almost majority of the people, they are very poor, and the only place they find job is the public sector. You cannot reduce that salary in a new harmonization. And I was very surprised that people were celebrating.
Okay, brother, thank you. We'll take another person here. We're giving you 30 seconds. No time. We need to go to the next topic. Hello.
Hello, how you doing?
Good evening.
Good evening. This is Patrick Gabriel. I'm calling from Bush.
Go ahead. Let's hear you.
You see, the one thing that we are lacking in this country is that when something comes up, we don't investigate well, and then we fly with the news. Moreover, our people in government, they are very deceptive in the sense that they can use a means to be able to tell the people we are doing well, whereby they have done nothing. Government has to be serious in this country. Things are going bad every second, every minute, and people are just there trying to reach themselves on the aspect of black people. We are paying these people, we employ them, we give them a set of money, and then they are lying to us. There is no proper effect. In fact, they are not educated to this. How does this thing work? That's the first thing. So when they just had a name that read fast, they told me that when you swan, you pass, you just go. I told people, I say, when they this cartoon, I say, this thing is not going to work because I know that I have not done better.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's take it. Let me take this one.
Today, it is unacceptable, seriously.
Hello, what's your name? What's your name? Okay, let's take another person. You kept the person on. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Go ahead.
I said, the government.
Okay, let's take another person, please. Hello. Hello. Okay, let me take another person here. Hello.
Good evening, Sekou.
Good evening.
Thank you, Sekou. I'm Emmanuel M. Tokpa Jr. Sekou, I call you this evening from a resident group. Let me say good evening to your two panelists, Vendela Patrick and Minister Facon. I'm listening to them collectively. I have to register my disagreement. Firstly, I want to make something clear. Let Vendela Patrick know that we are aware that the foreign policy of this country is resting for the president chief foreign policy maker. And so thank God that I got read that part of it. And that's it. It's one thing about the front part. The foreign minister didn't last on the
You're coming in very bad, brother. Okay, let's take another person here. We're going to take two more calls. We call it a day, then we transition to our next discussion. Very interesting. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, good evening.
Yeah, I want to talk to the former minister of Liberia.
Let's take another person here. Hello.
No,
Hello.
Sekou, let me just say something, Sekou, quickly. I think they can call back. Maybe it could be the tone of his voice could be different from the message you want to proffer. Allow him to speak.
No, I'm not cutting anyone off. I'm not cutting anyone off.
No, but he left the line. That's what I'm saying. As soon as you say you want to speak to the former minister, you left.
No, we have a system here. The calls are jamming. So if you're, that's why it is. Hello. Okay, you see. Let me take another person. Hello.
Yeah, good evening, Sekou, and good evening to our senior brother in the US. My name is Roosevelt G. Batu, and I join you from District 13 to be City, Chocolate City. Thank you ever so much for the topic on the discussion, my senior brother Sekou, that a lot and I usually follow. And let me agree with you that indeed the reports that you have given us to take into consideration. But we really need the website from you that we ourselves can make a research and make sure that.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
The people from MCC sending direct message to Minister Samuel Twe that website need to be on.
No, but you said the federal question have a website that you can go to.
Oh, email.
Information.
You want
you didn't mention the website.
You want the man put the man email and a private person. Now you don't want to disclose the person private information. If the man is a government official, we can do it.
But then you guys.
No, but yet still you can Google
come out with a discussion. Then you can get a website that we all get it from there. Go ahead.
You can Google it and you will get it clear. Yeah, go to the man name. You heard us calling the man name.
Millennium Compact Challenge.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. Let me take the last person. We'll not take all your calls, please. We need to move on to the next topic. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening.
My name is James T. Kanga. I call my cabinet Papa resident. Sekou, it's very important for our government official to tell the president the truth. Because when you tell him the truth, it makes it easy for them to do the right thing. But take a typical example. Minister Twe, when I was born, he said the censor, everything, of course, everything was ready to inform our international partner. And look at the kind of embarrassment we are going through today. So,
okay, we take the last. We take the last.
And it's misleading the president. It's wrong.
Okay, sorry, folks. We ain't taking calls again. You keep playing music, then you tell me to take calls when music is playing. Okay, so let's LIB. We're gonna go to our guys. No, we're not taking calls again. The calls are many. We will not take calls. We need to discuss the next issue, which is very important, folks. We want to say thank you to all your calls, Eugene. Fendela, you won't believe it. When we open the lines, the number of calls that usually can come in, we can't take all the calls. So we need to transition. So this is what we decided to discuss, looking at the possibility of Alexander Cummings, who is the head of the Alternative National Congress, ANC. As we move towards the 2023 elections, it is clear that even the people that cannot win elections in the country will come out and make statements as to convince you Liberians that they can do their best. But there are a few things we're going to put in context about Alexander Cummings. Yeah, a few things. Is Alexander Cummings the change that Liberia needs? Is Alexander Cummings can deliver looking at his deeds? Is Alexander Cummings that truthful politician to the Liberian people in terms of what he says or what he believes in or he wants to see in the country? Is Alexander Cummings that person that Liberians should really look at and trust and believe in what he says to them? Can he deliver this country as he claimed? Looking at all the factors, today we're going to provide our thoughts on it. Fendela will come in first. He will start this issue. And then that will follow by Eugene. Then before I will come in and provide you some tips on some issues and also provide my analysis as to a point where Alexander Cummings is not fit. He cannot. He's not truthful to the Liberian people about something that has continued to haunt him up to present. He cannot. And why I say we want to mention this, because when the people that claim to be leaders cannot be truthful to us, when you give them the positions, you're giving them the power to even be the most liar person to you. Some people want to make examples of leaders in current positions. When people had the mindset that this country could change when certain people could take over state power, but there were things that were not told to the Liberian people to have the clarity of them. Like in the case of Alexander Cummings, of one of the many things that have continued to haunt him, we've not had the opportunity as citizens to know the clear understanding from Mr. Alexander Cummings. And I have a very good analysis, but I want all the team players to give the analysis. And then before we can move on, and I will bring in my analysis and give some observations and let some people to understand this country why I think, because Eugene will disagree with me. He will say what he wants to say. Fendela will say what he wants to say. But what I think that Alexander Cummings cannot even become a good senator before he becomes a president of this country. So Fendela, let's go ahead.
Well, first, let me disagree with you. I think he can be a good senator if he chooses to run in his region in Maryland, Eastern. He's going to win because our elections are driven by 3 factors.
I did not say he will not win. Hello, Fendela, did you get me? I did not say he will not win. I said he will not be a good. Meaning, if you won the
okay,
election,
I retract my statement. I retract my statement. I retract. In my Julius Malema voice, I want to say I withdraw.
Right.
But there are a few things, and I want to be very controversial here. Alex Cummings, or ABC, is a prominent Liberian that we respect. His ushering into the Liberian politics in 2017 was untimely. I remember around 2012, we served as consultant in the formation of the ANC. And because we wanted to be politically aligned with a grassroots political movement, the ANC, the Alternative National Congress, they had their office read to Effie Shoko. And Horatio Gu was the chairperson. And I just wanted to state clearly that we were in a formative stage in the formation of the ANC. And the philosophy was clear. Must be driven by grassroots philosophy and ideology. And the issue of deep pockets or people trying to use cash to hijack power will not be the order of the day. ANC was established as a result. I'm trying to give you the historic nature of how the ANC came into existence. there was a convention that was held in Bomi, in which Honorable Horatio Gu, the past chairman of the ANC, was contesting to be the party chairman of the Congress for Democratic Change. That convention ended in chaos. It was first seen as a convention of chaos when the Sabu unit was introduced. It was the first time we heard the name the Sabu unit. They ran it out, and so when they came to Monrovia, they decided to have an alternative option, feeling that the ANC, not the ANC, but the CDC was not a better option. They built grassroots movements, appealed to seditions. The ANC was established fundamentally by people who broke away from the CDC. That is undisputed because we were in a formative stage as consultants and believe in multi-party democracy. We offer our expertise. Even Henry Costa was a part, Fandela was a part. But where the ANC stands at the moment, I think the surroundings of the standard bearer of the ANC, he needs to clean his surroundings. One of the reasons why the country failed or Liberia continues to be underdeveloped is not the actions of the leaders, and I'm sure Eugene Facon will agree with me, it's the actions of those who are considered to be the lieutenants of the president or the political leader. They sit quiet, they don't disagree, because political parties are established as if they are corporations. They make decisions. Like right now, Fandela Party have like $160 million. I can destabilize any political party in the Republic of Liberia. I bring them on board. I will tell you, say, today, issue a press statement, expel Alexander Kumi, expel Begugbe, expel Joseph Baka, and come to my party. You'll be reimbursed. I need to get $1 million. In the money, Joseph Baka will not be standard bearer for United Party. I can guarantee you. ANC will go. Kumi will not even be on the ballot. Our politics is not driven by conviction. The leaders who come into the political process, they have good intentions to lead the country in the right direction. Unfortunately, their surroundings will make it very difficult. But let me just say this, and I'm trying to give you an expert opinion. Regional politics is affecting Alexander Cummings at the moment. I mean no harm, but being very realistic. Liberians vote on 3 cardinal reasons. Ethnicity, they man from a tribe, they man is from a region, I will vote for him. Party alignment, party mandate. Whether you qualify, you not qualify, for the fact that they man from a party, I will vote for him. Religion, they men are Muslim, they men are Christian, I will vote. And that's why if you look at the 15 political subdivisions of our country, certain districts, you can be the most qualified. As long as you don't come from one religious background, you will not win. You don't come from one political party that has dominated that place, you will not win. If you are not coming from certain tribes in that particular region, you will not win. Liberia's political system is structured into 3 contingent factors: religion, party alignment, and ethnicity. This man that my trap. Let me not use the word ethnicity, tribalism, or regional politics. Kumi's is facing a serious battle. William V. S. Tubman was former president, I think the 17th president of Liberia from the Southeast. He led this country for 27 years. Samuel Doe from the Southeast, Gillette. He led this country for almost 10 years. Begugbe from the Southeast Grand Crew is leading the country for 6 years. He stayed a sitting president. There is absolutely no way, based on our culture and tradition in the historic context of Liberia, that a sitting president from the Southeast is in the race and they will choose Mr. Alexander Cummings over Begugbe. It's a problem. Cummings is dealing with a systemic, ideological, tribalistic, and ethnicity kind of problem that cannot be solved from now to 2023. The people will pretend, but our people have ordained leadership in this country to the extent that when you are a minister, the adoration you receive is more than any other thing. When President Weah visits the Southeasterners see President Weah as their own. Whether they benefit from a presidential morale or not, they see it is our own. This is our time. We see some of these guys writing on social media, we will not destroy what we have made. And this and that. I think the other day, I hope former Minister Eugene Falcon will give his statistic, because the last time when he was minister, he was saying what they did to Do, they would not do it to Weah. That alarms that these people in the midst of their poverty and suffering, they believe the fact that you come from their tribe, they will vote for you. Ethnicity, nationalism, and religion.
Okay, Fendela, let's go to...
In conclusion, I can say that I have not seen a stand to be corrected. For the past 3 months, Une Moriah Yekula has been speaking on critical national issues regarding the ANC. A former student leader, Moba Yobo, from AMEZ, he has been completely silent on the ANC. This is not an attempt to put him on the spotlight, but something is fundamentally wrong within the ANC, and they need to put their house in order. A former student general who was very verbose, articulate, consistent, educative, informative, when it comes to propagating issues or messages to rebrand our political system, has now become a political pet. He can't talk. We don't know whether he's allowed to talk or he's not allowed to talk. His silence speaks more. The ANC national chairman speaking on critical national issues. The president is out of this country for almost a month. Did you listen? You are in the press. Have you listened to the ANC questioning the CDC or the president of the Republic of Liberia of his long silence? He's outside of the country, Mickey Mousing and Santa Clausing with taxpayers' money. The ANC has not spoken. It has been almost months.
Okay, Fendela.
The ANC national chairman has not spoken. It speaks of the fact that Alexander Cummings is facing an internal wrangling with respect to the culture of performance and, of course, trying to reassess. He has a very good global image. Domestically, Le Toba Nati Potter describe Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, enjoy a bro and a devil at home. I do not want to give the description to Alexander Cummings, but if your political party is dormant, the ANC is dormant. The ANC is dormant domestically. They are not speaking on issues affecting the Liberian people. Press statements, they are not all to that. In fact, Alexander Cummings is acting as a standard bearer, secretary general, and a chairman. Nobody speaks for Alexander Cummings. Bisahe, I think is totally unacceptable.
Okay, let's go to Fakon. Let's hear Fakon on this issue.
Well, you laid the premise for this discussion, but you left it vague, I'm afraid, because you did not state why you thought within yourself that Alexander B. Cummings would not make a good senator, let alone is not honest with the people, and may likely not be a good president. Perhaps if you had given us some of why you thought so, then we will be able to say something.
Mm-hmm.
Having said that, it is not my place to make a determination as to whether he'll be a good senator or not. It is not my place to determine whether or not he will be a good president. And here's why I say so. We can analyze, we can say things about people. We're in the electoral season. First and foremost, Mr. Alexander Benedict Cummings commands respect from Liberians. If you look at the first round of the 2017 elections, you will find out that President Weah came in at 38% out of 5 candidates. The rest was Joseph Boakai with 28, which is 10% below. And then Bromskin came in at 9, Prince Johnson 8, and Cummings at 7%, accounting for 112,000 votes. As we go further, you will see that 2 candidates accounting for 18% of the votes will not be in the presidential race. So their votes in 2023 will be up for grabs. You cannot tell me that Alexander Cummings is still at 112 or below. I will tell you that is not true. And the reason for that is simple. The people who supported George Weah yesterday, they are physically moving to the ANC camp. I can give you an example of Louis Brown. I gave you an example of Toga Gawe McIntosh. I gave you an example of all the other people. They're moving into Cummings' camp. We look at the trending political issues where the NPP has not signed up since the CDC document expired. The LPDP have not done the same. You read Prince Johnson's paper here. Vendela, to some extent, is correct. I'm a Muslim. I see a Muslim man running. I say, Assalamu alaikum, alaikum wassalam. I feel attached to him. I see a day man running by virtue of the Western cluster. I feel attached to him. But we have to understand that the electorate before were chasing rice. They forgot about rice, they start chasing money. They forgot about money, they start chasing jobs. Now they have gotten so exposed that they can eat the money, get a job, get the eat the rice, and still not vote for you. But that, what am I trying to say? In the 2017 elections, for example, on my dashboard here, let's take Nimba. In the first round, Prince Johnson being so popular in his own county, won 53% of the vote. Where do you think the other 47% went? He was a member of their tribe, their region, and their son. It tells you that the people are changing. Let's go to Maryland County 2017. George Weah won 47% of the vote. Cummings won 21%. Again, that was 2017. That's not before the people paid in and the thing start spoiling. No. So it's not because you're from the South. Let's go to Bromsky, who is a Basso man. I put my cursor on Grand Basso County. Bromsky won 50% of the vote. Where the other 50% went? That was 2017. We're talking about 6 years ago, 5 years ago, right? Today, the dynamics have changed. We need to be careful that a new group of voters have emerged. There were people who were 17 years old in 2017. Today, those people are 23 years old. And all along between 17 and 2022 or 2023, there were people turning 18 and 18 and 18. So I'm trying to say that Cummings, we did not know that CPP would have breaking apart. We had no clue that CDC will be standing on its own today. We don't even know whether Jawia will come back. I'm saying these things because in the dynamics of politics, one little mistake can change things forever. Sekou. Who thought that the all-powerful McGill will be out of government today? Who thought that the elephant in the room, Bill Twale, would be saying that in rehearsal or talking? There are several factors that can influence elections. Don't be surprised. The Cummings we're talking about today, it ain't the same Cummings Toga Gewe went to. Louis Brown going to him. Who else? You help me? Daniel Chair going to him. Who else? There's so many people that we didn't expect. So I think Vendela, we are a little ways off here. Because one thing you left out is the influence people can have on the individual electorate. You think you're giving me rest, carry my children to hospital, paying my children school fees, time to vote, I will leave you because I mean I'm a tribe. It's not going to happen. So all I can say in the case of Alexander Cummings, he is trailing behind the other two.
Get this stuff ready.
I will tell you again for free. He is trailing behind the other two. But because I believe and I know that factors can affect elections, anything can change now. And we'll be surprised or regret why we say Cummings cannot be president. Why? What if something happens? And Oben Bwaka say, Ataya. I don't want anything to do with presidency. I want to rest. What happens if Prince Johnson, as we saw, say, my son, we are not going with you. We're going with Cummings. Bon County, Lofa. What will happen? The election will end. It will end. So I think with time, all of us on this panel will get to assess those folks. We never thought the CPP would break apart. And on that note, I respectfully submit that with time, we'll find out a lot of details.
Let me say thank you to Falcon and Vendela. I think with you guys, own thoughts about this issue is very important. But let me say this. I think, like Falcon, you try getting Vendela on point. You also, slip a bit, which you're right. Like I said, it is not that we're telling the Liberian people that Cummings cannot become a president or he's not fit to be a president. But on this show is where we examine people. And so we create the environment where the Liberian people will know who they are. The people that are going to them will know who they are.
But that's why I say you didn't tell us, anything.
No.
So we just gave you our insight. You didn't tell us why you thought he would not make a good senator or he will not be a good president. You didn't tell us anything, or else we would have come up from that angle.
Okay, so let me just say this, then before I can roll in some issues, which is very important and good, and I respect every one of you views.
Yeah.
We've been conducting opinion polls.
Okay.
And the opinion polls we've been conducting is not like the others where you sit on the radio and you allow people to call in. We visited Mangibi County. We visited Grand Bassa County. We did in Montserrat, right? I think few other counties.
But why you were hiring a team from Alpha? Why not tell that one from the beginning? Vendela ain't see you, man.
So maybe I made a mistake on that. Sorry.
Vendela ain't see you, man.
Fendela, you are mute.
Vendela ain't see you.
I'm saying at the time this man was making his research, you were not extending an invitation. This is a whole bonus service. I hope Voice of Liberia can pay me this. You were not consulted.
No problem. I'll take it.
So
and
this
is
is
follow you next time with your pizza.
So this is this. Out of the opinion polls we conducted, and this is what we did. We go out in the streets and we take the camera to you, for example, Fendela or Fagon. We take the camera to you and you live on the camera and we ask you for your name. And we ask you, if today were election, who do you think you're going to vote for to become the next president of this country? And that program was being conducted in few counties in Liberia. And it will interest you to know that in most of the areas, Alexander Cummings' name was not even mentioned. In Mangibi, in Grand Bassa, I think some part of Monrovia, yes, they mentioned his name, but he came, I think tier 4, something like that. I don't want to be, exact. I'm saying this to say there are few things we need to look at how elections and how the people of this country, how they see things. Liberia is a gullible country, but there are things that the people reject.
My country not gullible.
No, listen. I want to make.
I said no. They mess up. I'm not calling Uncle Juguju. Don't call my country gullible.
I want to make a very good analysis that we all we see through. Liberia is a country where we allow a lot of things, but we make some quiet decisions on some issues based on the lack of understanding. Let me say this before I can go to the main issue. Mr. Cummings came in this country. He was not one of the political, figures in this country. And he came through the background of former President Sirleaf appointing him to BWR on the board. And through that process, he started to make some intervention. He went to the ANC. And through the ANC, like Fendela said, he started to spill a catch to have himself in the political issues in the country like everyone else could do. One thing that Cummings has failed to do for himself, which is affecting him and will continue to affect him in the upcoming elections, Cummings has failed to understand or know his stronghold. Listen, you cannot win elections on guessing. That, okay, because you see the number of crowd, meaning that, all the people will go vote for me. It is not the case. Cummings cannot tell you that my Gibby County is a county that even if I'm not to go there to campaign, votes will come there in my favor because the people believe in me. Cummings has not been able to build that for himself. He's like a lost person in a society in which he wants to operate. Cummings cannot go to Mangibi and say, okay, even though all the politicians are running around, but when they go to Mangibi or when they go to Maryland, I'm going to control it. So it's like he's in the zones of all the other people trying to get relevance, not knowing that if the relevance he's seeking, they are all tangible or legitimate relevance. Now, election and campaign issues in our country, it is about the message. And you as an individual, the people should see themselves somehow, some way into your story. If you noticed some of the things Liberians continue to say of recent, even they can say it to the current government. Y'all say I will vote for y'all. Y'all are coming to make a change. But the same people that were in the government that create all the problems we say it was bad, that the same people y'all get in the same positions. What become of us that suffer for the government? Vendela, you've heard that, right? Right?
I've heard that, but let me just say something.
No. I mean, let me let
anyway, go ahead.
Falcon, you've heard that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. So why I say I'm saying this? Louis Brown, who used to be against President Salif, and here's what he said before. The president desecrated the sacredness of the office she represents. And at the end of the day, we saw Louis Brown in the government.
Not just in the government. Listen. He afforded the platform of the John Security to use that very platform to threaten civil liberty. To say they will use lethal and non-lethal forces.
Thank you. This is the same Louis Brown that Liberians, I want us to get this analysis. Liberians rejected the continuation of Unity Party because they felt that the Unity Party, led by President Salif at the time, did not do well. And so there was no reason why, right? There was no reason why they should give Unity Party extension to Joe Barker because they felt that it could be the same thing. And the same people could be in the same positions. So what the people thought, they were avoiding continuity and decided to bring in new group of people like the current government now. So they brought in this government. But here is the same Louis Brown that is with Alexander Cummings, one of the main players. Yes, another thing that Cummings has continuously failed to stand firm and make the Liberian people understand. I don't want to be personal here, but I need to say this. We need to discuss issues openly here. This thing about Mr. Cummings supporting gay rights is something, if we take it to be something light, this will continue to haunt Mr. Cummings until he can come off firmly and let the Liberian people know, either to say, I do support or I do not support. Listen, we're gonna play you a word, and I'm gonna define the words he used in this thing. because of the failure of Mr. Cummings to let the Liberian people know if he supports gay rights or he's not supporting gay rights, Senator Prince Johnson is on record of calling Cummings a gay. I hope you guys are understanding the trend in which I'm taking. Because Cummings has not been able, nobody can say if Cummings are gay or not gay, or he supports gay or he doesn't support gay. It is not what we're saying here. Now, these are some of the things that will haunt Cummings. Mind you, political times, there will be a lot of things that will come up. And so there are things that you need to let when Falcon used to be in the government. Most of the people used to admire Falcon because Falcon was the fiery person. He never used to allow anything. When you say Falcon did this, in the evening, Falcon will tell you if it is, and he will explain everything to you. So you will get to understand if what you say it is truth or not. But Cummings has not been able to really, and this is something he said, he is conflicted. This word, he said he's conflicted. And when you define the word conflicted, let me, I don't want to just say it so that other people will understand, and then we will have it in a jiffy so you listen. Now, these are some of the things, folks, if you go, now, if you do the definition and you use the Caribbean dictionary, they said conflicted. For those of you listening, I know we all are educated, but let me just, make this very simple. conflicted, conflicted. It means confused or worried because you cannot choose between very different ideas, feelings, or beliefs, and do not know what to do or believe. So that means, let's play this thing so you can listen. Let's play what he said. And then we'll come to Prince Johnson's own allegation now about him. What am I saying this? Until Cummings can come out and make the Liberian people know clear that even though this gay thing, that something has been said over the years, I do not support this. And I challenge anyone to come up and say, but if Cummings cannot do that, the Liberian people, listen, this country is a gullible country. People believe, there are people in this country believe that Cummings is a gay. There are people in this country believe that Cummings is not a gay. Right? Let's play this. Go ahead. Play
question on gay rights. And I've answered this question, and perhaps not too elegantly. And I've used the words that I'm conflicted by this issue, but let me explain why. Let me explain what I mean by that. It's a lifestyle that I struggle with. As important, though.
I want you to remove it. Okay. So listen to him. Falcon, you listen. What's his name? Fendela, you listen, right? Like the word I use. He said, this is a thing he's conflicted with. Because of that, listen to what Prince Johnson said to Mr. Cummings. Listen to it. Just listen, folks. Yeah, I want you guys to listen. So these are things that I think in my mind. If Cummings failed to make the Liberian people understand if he supports gay rights or he doesn't support it, it's going to haunt him seriously.
I think we should say Totokwe. That name, gay rights, in Liberia, we call it Totokwe.
Play Johnson on, please.
You can.
Well, they came to me and they want Jeremiah Cohn to be running me to Honorable Cummings. I told, and beside that, Mr. Cohn told me, because he's in our party, he's in the empty hour. So he has to tell me what is happening on the other side. So I told him, 2017 election, there was a debate. And during the debate, Mr. Cohn was, are you gay? No, I'm not a gay, but I support gay right. I mean, he's a damn gay. And Liberia, there is a secular nation by law, but it's dominated by Christians.
So, okay, so let us...
No, let me say this. At no point in time, Alexander Cummings said he support gay right. He did not. And I can challenge anybody.
No, he did not
listen to that.
The only thing he said...
Johnson, I come in. Prince said, according to what we just listened, Prince Johnson said that in 2017 there was a debate that Alexander Cummings accepted that he supports gay right. And I'm saying at no point in time that Alexander Cummings ever mentioned he supports gay right. This is a platform.
He said it's a lifestyle. He said it's a lifestyle.
He said it's a lifestyle he struggled with. He has to explain to the Liberian people why making him to struggle with that lifestyle. Why he has to struggle to it. I'm
interested in what.
No. Listen, no. There are some
said after he said it's a lifestyle.
No. There are some things.
There were other sentences that were supposed to come after that.
Oh, okay. No, that's what I'm saying. You know, for some of us, this is what I'm saying. When we come to this platform, we have to be very objective, and that will also allow creeping statements to surface. I like how you brought that. The senator in. I want to respectfully disagree with Senator Johnson. Maybe I have listened to that. If he has listened to it, well, fine. But up to this time, I have said consistently that at no point in time that ABC did mention that he supports gay rights. What I listen is his struggle. I am interested in why he had to struggle. That is the issue. And I will not sit on a platform for somebody to say, oh, the man is supporter. He never, ever made that statement. Never made that statement. I stand to be corrected. But I am interested in why he struggled with this lifestyle.
But the only place you can get that from, if the tape had continued after the word with.
Okay, I listened to the entire Smith Tobey. It was Smith Tobey that interviewed him.
No. It was the late Mamadi. It was the late Mamadi.
The late Mamadi. Sorry, he went to
it's a lifestyle that I struggle with. And after that, what did he say? I want to hear what he said after that.
Okay, so let's play.
He never.
Question on gay rights. And I've answered this question, and perhaps not too elegantly. And I've used the words that I'm conflicted by this issue, but let me explain why. Let me explain what I mean by that. It's a lifestyle that I struggle with. As important, though, I believe, Liberians are also focused on health, education, jobs, and I also want us to focus the conversation on those issues.
You think you answered that question the right way?
I don't know if that's
it's a very sensitive.
It's a very sensitive issue, and I don't know if that's
there was a strict with youth support is something that you would,
Mamadi, I think I've answered the question.
You listen to that?
Let me just come in. I think the guys in 2017 did not do justice to Alexander Cummings, and I like to say they very clearly.
No, Fendala, you cannot say so. No, Fendala, you cannot
say so. Hey, political party, they didn't do well. That's my opinion. You don't have right over my opinion. Simple.
Okay, go ahead.
That's how I think. You can tell me how to speak. You don't control my mind. You, G Fagon, does not control my mind. You don't control my mind.
I got your remote control right here. I'm your brain law. I can control your mind.
But let me say this, right? Let me just say this. I think they say mistakes are not allowed to be made. When they are made, they should be accepted.
Mistakes are allowed to be made. When made, they must be corrected and accepted.
Corrected.
That's the reason why companies need to come up now and tell them.
I am saying that this issue, I don't want to call the name you are calling as a traditional man. I call it Mia Mia or Totokwe.
Gentlemen, no time the news people Mia or yeah,
So I want to say this very clear before you can leave.
No, we'll end it tomorrow. It's very important.
Yeah, we'll continue, but I just want to clarify. And we all watch the debate. I know in time, Cummings did mention that he endorsed or sanctioned the practice of Totokwe or Mia Mia. He said it's a lifestyle he struggled with. He has to clarify before we hold him accountable. Prince
But then
Johnson,
why-
I respect him, but it was an indictment on Alexander Kumi. At no point in time, Alexander Kumi ever made a statement that he practiced or sanctioned the practice or Totokwe. No.
Okay, gentlemen. Thank you, gentlemen. We need to go. Falcon, you gotta wrap up the news. You see, everyone just saying if you guys seen the news, is
Let it go. So next time we have to break at about 4:50 or
sure.
10 minutes to 9, so that we can be able to close up with our parting comments.
Sure.
Let's go. We'll
Let's
take
go.
it up
Tomorrow we're gonna be back. Okay, thank you very much.
From Grand Coulee County, I'm Christopher Kuman, Voice of Liberia News. Roaming the city, I am Desmond William, VOL News.